Welcome into Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. See that, Grant? That's the certified G belt right there. Bada boom, man of the people in the room. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Tanner. It's Friday, TGIF. Can't be much better than that. Got the weekend going. We got the NBA back. I know that's obviously my best time of the year. And Tanner, I just got to toot my own horn, man. I'm right at 63% against the spread with the plays I've put up on WSN.com. I'm 64% just overall for me. So I'm absolutely crushing it this year.
You're crushing, and that's why you guys need to follow the page, follow the video, follow the subscription, follow the YouTube channel, follow everything you can subscribe to at WSN. It's all free picks. It's all free content. So make sure you're getting it in. 64%. You can't beat that.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the best stretch. I was at the point, I was talking with our friend Greg Peterson a couple of weeks ago. I was like, hey, Greg, things are just going too well for me. I'm going to have the worst losing streak of my life at some point. It hasn't come yet, so I don't know. I almost don't know what to expect. Obviously, I'm confident in the picks, and that's why I'm taking them. But I'm waiting for things to just go wrong, and they aren't.
There you go. Get in while the picks are hot. Get in while the picks are hot.
Have you ever had a heater like that where you're like, think this is just going too well? This is too perfect. Something bad's gonna happen?
Not many. No.
It's a weird, this is undoubtedly the best run that I've been on. Again, 64% for what are 60% of a season. That's pretty ridiculous. So I'm waiting for it to go the other way. It's just not happened yet.
I've had some good runs. I don't know if I've had a run where I'm like, oh my God, this is the greatest stretch of my life. More than a few days. A few days has been good.
You know what's funny? So I have a friend who lives in California. His name's Jeff. Shout out to Jeff if he's watching this. He lives out in California, and obviously sports betting is illegal over there, but he participates in a group pick'em challenge where you make picks against the spread, but even though he can't bet them, and they just kind of track results and everything, and they track, if we're assuming minus 110 odds, this would be your payout and your ROI and all that stuff like that. He hit 66% on his picks for the entire college season. He went 80 and 40 something. That's crazy.
Yeah, for college football.
Yeah, for college football.
Yeah, that's wild. He's got to call up a bookie and get some of those bets in.
For real, he's got to move states.
Yeah, go to just drive to Arizona or Vegas or Nevada or something. Drive somewhere that's legal.
He didn't share that information with me until 2 weeks ago. I was like, bro, this is what I do for a living. You were gonna tell me that? He's like, he just kept it to himself.
Might as well go on Bovada or my bookie or something too. But it's all about the legals. But if you're not in a legal state, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, we advocate for regulated sports books, of course.
Yeah, but if you're in California, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, talk to Gavin Newsom. That's the governor, right? Talk to Gavin, see if you can get the job done out there.
Yeah. Anyways, we got some picks today in the NBA and college basketball. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, though. Before we get into those, again, Grant's hot. I'm doing pretty well in college basketball. I'm not in the heater of a century, but we're still giving some winners out here. And you know what? We do hockey a little bit too. We do everything. Maybe we'll do college baseball eventually. Who knows? But Grant, why don't you get us started with a pick?
Yeah, so I will start off. Before I jump into them, though, guys, just as always, please check injury reports before games. On Wednesday's show, I said to take the Lakers. Later that day, LeBron James gets ruled out. If you tailed the Lakers, then I didn't, and I understand that I wasn't able to communicate with you guys, but as soon as you logged on to the injury report and saw LeBron wasn't playing, that probably should have been a hint to you that, okay, we should probably rethink this approach. So we did hit the Mavericks last time, and basically we were just 1-0 in my opinion, because, again, that's a scratch to me. Going to try to double up, and I got a couple picks here that I do want to share. The first one, and this is one that I did a full write-up on WSN, so if you want more detailed, nuanced stats and all that stuff, go check it out over there. But I really like the Minnesota Timberwolves at minus 3.5 at home against the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks are the worst team against the spread as a road underdog. They just cover 20% of the time, and they're also the second worst team against the spread just overall. Meanwhile, Minnesota, both profitable in both categories. I believe they're the sixth best team against the spread overall, which is impressive considering they have the best record in the Western Conference. When you're favored by a large amount, pretty much every game you play, and it's harder to cover the spreads, but the credit to them, they've been able to do that. Minnesota does a tremendous job on defense, as everybody knows. They lead the league in defensive rating, allow the fewest points per game, all that stuff. Their defensive rating is 108 for the season. It's a 103 at home. That's 5 points clear of the next closest team, which is Houston, and it's 9 points better than they have on the road. So just think about how good their defense is in a vacuum. It's even significantly better at home. These two teams played a few days before the All-Star break. Now, Lillard did not play. Damian Lillard did not play in that game, but Minnesota still won by over 20 points. They held Giannis to only 17. I don't think they're going to win by that much again, but when I think about the fact that Milwaukee is only 3-7 under Doc Rivers, their defense does look better under him. They're top 10 in defensive efficiency with Doc, but they are like 24th in offensive efficiency, and they have the second worst clutch rating. So game within 5 points in the final 5 minutes, they are the second worst team during that time frame. They were like top 3 before Doc showed up, which I think is quite fitting because Doc is known for choking. So I just think there's a whole lot going wrong with this Bucks team, and really they didn't need time off. Like, they needed reps, not rest. They need to find themselves. They weren't able to do that. Minnesota has been a model of consistency from start to finish this season. I think they go home, get a win here, and it's not a large line. Like, they can win. 4 points is 2 buckets. You're telling me they can't win by 2 buckets? I absolutely think they can.
Yeah, I like this here. 19-5 at home versus the Bucks, who are 12-14 on the road. And like how they defended Giannis last time was remarkable, especially without Damian Lillard in there. You would think that Giannis would be even better than he usually is or get more attempts, and they held him down there. Bucks have only won 2 of their past 5 games. Timberwolves have won 4 straight. I like the play here. Minnesota's a threat down the stretch in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, this is the thing. Again, with Greg Peterson, I was talking with him on his show about the top teams in the West. All 4 teams, because I do think I shouldn't say that because I actually really like the Suns and the Mavericks too, but they have their questions. What I'm getting at is those top 4 teams in the West, which have separated themselves, they still all have questions. You know, Denver's the defending champions, but they're only 1 game over 500. Right now, they're the 4th seed. So after the first round, they're going to be on the road. Are they just randomly going to turn into this amazing road team all of a sudden? History says that doesn't happen. Minnesota is great in the regular season, but they've got basically no postseason experience, and their offense also gets worse as the game slows down, which is typically what happens in the playoffs. With OKC, I'm not even worried about their inexperience. They're the second worst rebounding team and limiting second chance opportunities, all that vitally important in the playoffs. And then the Clippers are injured all the time. So are Kawhi, PG, Westbrook, Harden, are they going to stay healthy? All 4 of those teams are great, but they all have huge questions.
What'd you think of Doc Rivers saying during the All-Star break on Sirius XM NBA radio that he did not know why the Bucks were doing what they did?
I can't look. Here's the thing. I understand what he's saying.
Yeah, I understand what he's saying.
I have no effing idea why he would vocalize it, and especially in the middle of the season after going 3-7 in your first 10 games. Like, Doc, just shut up. You know, JJ Redick went on national TV, said you have no accountability. Then you got some of your former players coming out and defending it. I know Patrick Beverley defended you, but he's one of your current players now, so of course he's going to do that. I haven't really heard anybody stick up for him. You know, and it's not like we haven't had these sort of thoughts about Doc. Like, on the outside looking in, he's the only coach in league history to blow 3-1 leads in the playoffs. I think he's like 6-10 in game 7s and like 2-4 in home game 7s. He's blown numerous 3-2, 3-1, 3-0 lead. Like, he's just a mess. So for a player to come out and say that about him, nobody stand up to defend him. It didn't come as a surprise to me. And just with his recent comments, like, just look yourself in the mirror, Doc. You have got Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's already won 2 MVPs, a finals and a finals MVP. You've got Damian Lillard, who's a top 75 player in NBA history, maybe the best as far as range, might have the best range in the NBA. He's not a better three-point shooter than Steph, but he might have more range than him. You can work so well with this team, yet you're choosing not to. You would rather complain. I don't get it.
No, I understand what he was saying, right? Like, nobody knew what the Bucks were doing when they fired their old head coach to go to Doc, but you can't vocalize it on radio. That's going to be national news. Like, you just can't do that.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Tanner, give us the pick.
College basketball now. we got the Marist Red Foxes. Marist takes care of business. A lot of teams in college basketball don't tend to take care of business because they miss free throws and they turn the ball over. But Marist, they play really, really good defense. And that's the reason to get on them in this game at -7.5. They are on the road tonight against Manhattan, but Manhattan's a very bad basketball team, just 5-19 on the season, 2-13 in the conference. When you look at Marist, they're 14-9 and 9-5 in the conference. But the biggest difference in this game is in the backcourt. The Red Foxes only allow 61.9 points per game. Manhattan gives up 77.8. So big difference there. When it comes to offense, each team scoring about the same amount of points per game, but Marist goes slow. They're kind of like Iowa in football, right? They're going to like totally like just pinch you down, like beat you down, and find a way just to win by defense, right? They're not going to score a ton of points, but even if they score 65 points in this game, they can easily cover because I don't see Manhattan doing much on offense, only shooting 40% from the field. You got to be a lot better against Marist to win than 40% from the field. Got to watch for Marist. Max Allen, 11 points per game down low, but he's also a big presence, grabs a lot of rebounds, shooting 52% from the field as well. Look for him to be big tonight. Also, a guy I really like for Marist, Jaden Collins, just a young freshman there, but shooting 44% from the field, pretty efficient, takes a lot of hard shots, and he's very good with the assist and with the rebounds as well. So look for those two guys to shine. I think Marist should have no problem on the road tonight.
I'm not going to pretend to know the first thing about Marist and Manhattan, Tanner. I'll be honest. This seems a little like the equivalent of betting on Maction to me.
Nah, I don't know. All college basketball is betting on Maction. Like that's kind of how it is. Like these guys don't show up. Very few teams take care of business. Like shout out to Duke the other night for taking care of business against Miami. Like, but Dayton didn't take care of business. So it's like Dayton's a mid-major. They're the 21st ranked team in the country, whatever they were, but they're a mid-major. They go on the road to George Mason and lose because they're mid-major kids that don't take care of business. Like this could be the same thing too, but Marist overall, every time I bet on them, they've pretty much been good to me. And they're a much better team statistically. So you got to bet. We bet teams, or we bet numbers. We don't bet teams, Grant.
Yeah, 100%. It's a healthy balance of eye test and numbers. And if you've got that, I have nothing to add here, so I'll trust you.
All right, next NBA pick.
So I've actually gone back and forth last minute. I was looking at the Cavs -3.5 against the Sixers, and I am probably going to bet that today. But the pick that I officially want to share on the show here, I'm going to take Jalen Williams, J-Dub of the OKC Thunder, over 30.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So he and the OKC Thunder are going against the Washington Wizards, who are absolutely atrocious. If you need any evidence of that, just go look at what happened against the Nuggets yesterday. The Thunder played the Wizards one time earlier this season. In that game, J-Dub had 21 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds. And again, his line's 30.5 for all three of them combined. You look at what he's been doing in February, averaging 24 points, 6 assists, 4.5 rebounds. So again, he gets over that line with ease. And yesterday against the Clippers, this is the thing. He was really uninvolved in the offense for the first 3.5 quarters of that game, really until garbage time. I don't know if I should call it garbage time because the Clippers kept it at like 12-14. So the Thunder still kind of needed to close them out, but they were going to win that game unless they totally blew it up. But anyway, he wasn't really involved in the game until like the final 6-7 minutes. He still finished with 18, 6, and 4, which if you do the math on that, he was 2 points, rebounds, assists away from getting to his total. So this is a guy that if he comes out a little more aggressive from the start, and I think he will, the Wizards, again, they're absolutely awful. I don't think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to try to go for like 50. I think he's going to look at this as almost like a night off, like let me get my teammates involved and all that stuff. And with what Williams has been doing against such a terrible defense, the Wizards have the second worst defensive rating in basketball for the year. I think it's a strong night for him. I think he and the Thunder can easily beat the Wizards. He'll have a strong night.
Yeah, it's always a strong night when you're going against the Wizards. They are terrible. They're a disappointment. And they don't play hard either. That's the biggest thing. Like they don't seem to care when they're on the floor. So this is going to be a good bet for you, Grant. I feel it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, they benched Jordan Poole. Like, this was the worst situation for Jordan Poole to walk into because he's such an unserious player. And now he's becoming, I think he was the second highest paid player on the team, probably looked at as the second best player. And it's just been a total disaster. He gets moved to the bench last night. I don't know if you saw a play he had, but he inbounded the ball like a foot and just kind of stood and watched. A Nuggets player scooped it up and dunked it. I just don't know what's going on in Washington right now.
Well, it's a little different for him when you don't have Steph and Clay and Draymond next to you. Like when you can come in and play short burst and be amazing against secondary guys when you got those dudes next to you, like that's a big difference than being the 1A starter and being the guy that's got to make the plays.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all, but he still showed, real talent and playmaking ability. And I don't know if it was the discipline that they had organizationally, or like he really does need these amazing players around him. But like, he was still a good basketball player with the Warriors. He looks awful now, like
No, he was
truly
fantastic.
horrendous.
Yeah, he was fantastic, but again, like it's different when you don't have like when you can kick it out to Steph or Clay. You got Draymond down low, establishing the paint. You got Draymond just overall being an enforcer out there for you. It's a little different than when you're working with the Washington Wizards when you are the star and you don't have those guys to feed off, right? Like if people are focusing on Steph, that's going to leave Jordan Poole open.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, what's the second college pick you got here?
So I think I was gonna go Quinnipiac -2.5 here. I think I'm gonna go towards the under a little more, but I do like both plays. So I would say Quinnipiac -2.5, Quinnipiac Fairfield under. It's set at 158.5. There were only 130 points scored last time between these two teams. It was a very low scoring effort. The shooting percentages were not good. I think it's going to be a little better in this one. I mean, both teams are very good on offense. Fairfield's scoring 76 points per game, Quinnipiac scoring 78. Defensively, neither team is amazing. They're both giving up a low 70. So, better than average, but still not the best team in the world by any means. When you look at the way this game's going to go, though, Fairfield is a team that's predicated on making shots. Like if they don't make their shots, they're in trouble because they don't grab a lot of rebounds. I think Quinnipiac's going to grab those rebounds and slow down the pace. The last time between these two teams, Quinnipiac dominated the rebounding battle. They have a much larger presence inside. I think that's going to make the difference. So if Fairfield misses shots early in this one, look for Quinnipiac to slow down the pace, grab those rebounds, and play their kind of game, which is a much more physical brand of basketball than Fairfield. The reason I like them to win, again, is because of the rebounding battle. The Stags got to come into this game and be very efficient from the field to have a chance. I don't think they're going to have a chance if they're not efficient because even though Quinnipiac only won by 2 points last time against Fairfield, it was still a game. When you look at the box score, Quinnipiac dominated it.
Yeah, Quinnipiac's got to be better on defense. They gave up 80 and 96 points in their last two games. So, but again, college teams are just streaky, very, very confidence, very momentum based. If you come out, you get 4 or 5 stops early in the game, that really sets the tone for the rest of the 40 minutes. I have no doubt the head coach is drilling that into them. Again, we can't let teams get out to these hot starts. So as long as they do that, then they should have a decent shot here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all over the Bobcats. Hey, Quinnipiac alum.
Yeah, you're betting on the alma mater. Did you go? How many games did you go to while you were there?
0. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for the mid majors. Come on.
You love the mid majors.
I do. No, because like you can't bet on them. Like so when you're in the state, obviously you can't bet. So like I'm in Massachusetts now, so I can bet on them. I went to a couple hockey games. Like the hockey games are fun. I mean, the Bobcats basketball program, they're good this year. They're 19-6, but they're usually not the best basketball team in the world by any means. So
the hockey team's pretty good, aren't they?
They won the national championship last year. I had a blast watching them last year, but this year it's kind of just like they're not as good. I don't think I'm not following them as closely as I was, but go Bobcats.
Go Bobcats. That was my high school. That was my high school mascot. So go Bobcats.
I did go up to a basketball player last year for a video though, and I was walking by and I was like, "Hey, you gonna cover the spread tonight?" And he's nodded at me. He's like,
he probably can't say too much. He doesn't get one of those investigations that going on him.
And they covered it. I had a buddy in the class. We'd sit there and we would just like think, okay, like, are we going to bet on Quinnipiac or not tonight? Because like we were doing, you're doing offshore stuff too and all that, which regulated legal books all for them. But when you were in the state, obviously we couldn't bet on them. So that was the part.
All right, Tanner, that's all I got for you. And I think that's all you got from me, right?
That's all I got. That's all I got for the people. But make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. We're giving out winners here. Free winners every single day. It's not rocket science. Never been rocket science. Grant, take us out of here.
Thank you all so much for tuning in into Ride the Line. Like the video if you did enjoy. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss out when Tanner and I post again. Jump in the comment section. Let us know what you guys are going to be betting on this weekend. And we will see you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.